Excuse me. One more time. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Okay, let me see who was here first. Uh, Ingrid Sowers, thank you so much for being here first. Vanessa Jones, Nola Thundo, Niandini, Compton Cali Gal, Connie Bummer, and a host of friends and others. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. By the way, I don't think we'll be here more than an hour. Okay, so anyway, as you know, the Royals are fighting for survival. But remember, every weapon formed against them will fail. Yeah, one of the squaddies put this together, and anyway, I just loved it, so I thought I would share it with you. But yeah, so far it's been that way. Whether it's throwing yourself out of a chair live on television, or perhaps, well, it's been one thing after the other. You know what? I just noticed that back on May the 29th, 1976, Marriott's Great America opened in Gurnee, Illinois. Um, do you guys remember Marriott's Great America? It was like Warner Brothers' answer to Disney World or Disneyland. Anyway, back in 1976, it opened with its famous double decker merry-go-round. Yeah, I remember that. I thought it was such a novelty to go on that double decker merry-go-round. Of course, now for the life of me, I couldn't understand what was so big about it, except I don't think I had ever seen one before. I don't know if anybody had ever seen one before. But yeah, I still got a picture of me. Um, and it was not opening day, but it was definitely one of the first days that it was open. And wow, I remember I believe the big wooden roller coaster was called the Screaming Eagle. And the whole theme of the place was like the turn of the century, like as in 1900. And that was actually the name of the roller coaster that had a corkscrew. It was called the Turn of the Century. And later on, it was bought out by Six Flags, and then it became Six Flags Great America. I even still remember the theme song. I still remember the theme song. It's a country of fun for everyone. It's Marriott's Great America. The rides are great, the shows are great, the fun is great. It's Marriott's Great America. God, how old am I? 1976, that place opened. Wow, amazing. Oh, and by the way, the theme character, instead of Mickey Mouse, they had Bugs Bunny walking around in a tuxedo, an Uncle Sam like morning coat or tuxedo or whatever. Um, I don't suppose anybody else remembers that, huh? Am I the only one? Here, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, where is it? That is Jay Willard and Bill Marriott. Jay Willard and Bill Marriott. Um, of course, I guess the owners of the Marriott Hotel, but they were there at the opening day. Yeah, but a double carousel. See it in the background there? Someone says that both levels are still spinning today. Wow. How old am I? I still have vivid memories of it as though it was just yesterday. Someone named Janine says, I opened the park back in 1976 as their main switchboard operator and receptionist. I also was a park guide for many celebrities, including Kangaroo, Joanne Worley, um, Jerry Stiller, the Marriott brothers, and many more such great memories. Huh, 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 huh. Wow, the memories. Man, that was fun. Okay. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to go down memory lane for a minute there. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know that I would ever want to be anyplace else. I'm kind of like, if I wasn't here, it would either have to be Paris or New York. But other than that, no other cities appeal to me. No other cities appeal to me. I still remember going to Knott's Berry Farm in Florida, was it? Or was it California? I think it was California. Oh, I don't remember. Anyway, I do remember going to Knott's Berry's farm. Wow. Thanks for the memories. Da 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 da. So thanks for the memory. Marriott's Great America theme song. Huh. Huh. No, that's not the one I remember. Oh well. Okay, what do we got, you all? Okay, is there anything I need to post up top? Nope, not yet. Wow, can you believe this month went by so fast? And this week, throw in a holiday, and the week went by incredibly fast. Okay, let me get rid of those people and let's continue. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's communication team expands as Sussex team hires method communicators, communi- method communications to assist in effort. Now, um, what the devil does that mean? Method communications to assist in that effort. Let's check it out, shall we? While I'm sitting up here going down memory lane, I stumbled on this photograph. It kind of made me laugh. Okay, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's business and philanthropic efforts continue to expand. This is according to Forbes magazine. Forbes has learned, uh, or as some people in my family say, Forbes has learnt. Forbes has learnt that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's communication team is growing, adding Method Communications as an extension of the already established Sussex communication team. What in the world is Method Communications? A source close to the matter tells us, let me see. Let me click on that link and see what that means. Okay, Method, a global PR marketing partner for challenger brands. We help disruptors, innovators, and market leaders go beyond the expectations and standards of their industry to create narratives and capture the minds of target audiences and generate real impact. Well, you know what? I I think they need whatever help they can get. Um, yeah, I think they need whatever help they can get because I'm telling you, um, they're up against a giant. It really is a David and Goliath story. They are up against a giant because you have these established media titles. I don't even call them companies because they're owned by other companies like Newsweek. Newsweek, a proper weekly political magazine, has become nothing more than a gossip rag. Um, Newsweek was right on par with Time Magazine and U.S. News and Day. What was it? U.S. News and World Report or something like that. And now it's just a trashy magazine. And I'm just like, when did all this happen? Ah, Maurice Brown says, Baron, what do you know about old Chicago and Fun Town for the kids and you, 95th and Stony Island Avenue, Fun Town, with its Mad Mouse roller coaster? Don't get me started with the Mad Mouse roller coaster. Yes, I remember Fun Town and old Chicago. I think I've only been there one time. And you know, old Chicago was featured in a movie called The Fury. If you've ever seen that movie from the 70s about telekinetic powers, The Fury, there was a scene that was filmed at Old Chicago, which was an indoor theme park. It was an indoor theme park, huge, like airplane hangar size building, which even had a roller coaster inside. So yeah, I remember those places. But thank you for asking. Oh, I see someone else brought it up. Okay, my uncle took us there in 1971. But listen, you guys, I'm not old enough to remember Riverview. If there's anyone of a certain age from Chicago, if you run out of things to talk about, ask them about Riverview and then just sit back because you won't be able to get a word in edgewise. There was a theme park called Riverview. And even at a time of racial segregation and all that kind of stuff, I don't know anybody, black or white, who did not have fond memories of Riverview. But yeah, so that was another famous theme park in the Chicagoland area. Well, let me look back here before I go on because I was looking for some comments and I didn't see any. So I was like, okay, let me keep going. You remember the Bugs Bunny? Ah, do they still have the Bugs Bunny? Okay. Fun town for the kids and you. 95th and Stony Island Avenue. Fun town. With this Mad Mouse roller coaster. They called it the Mad Mouse because it was La Petite. It was Poquito roller coaster. It was very small. And so for that reason, they called it the Mad Mouse roller coaster. It wasn't big like, because Funtown was just a very small theme park. Okay. Let me see. Yes, we discussed that yesterday, the avalanche. And as far as I know, there was like some guy in his 60s that was unaccounted for. So I hope they found him. Other than that, they had evacuated the town, thank goodness. So hopefully no one was hurt. Oh, Eileen Bennett, thank you so much for being here. Okay. So as we were speaking about the Sussexes and them taking on a PR firm, I guess it's about time. I mean, oh, you guys, um, it's been brutal for our faves, and as I said, they're up against um, a giant, and they need whatever help they can get. And hopefully, this is. And you know what? It's not just them, you all. It's not just the Sussexes. I think they probably get it worse than just about anybody I could think of today, currently. And that being said, it takes a team to deal with it because of social media. Um, it's a lot to respond to. Social media has complicated things so much more than before because you have a lot of reporters and even people that work within the institution, within the firm, that are communicating with these shady characters online. They have their burner accounts, and that makes it very, very difficult to know exactly where the hostility is coming from. Is it organically evolving, or is it something more sinister happening? Are these real people with real feelings based on false information, or are they being fed directly from, let's say, for the sake of conversation, Kensington Palace? It's hard to know. So, whatever help they can get, especially if they prove themselves to be useful, I'm here for it. Matter of fact, I'll put $20 on it. Uh, oh my goodness. The guy was buried alive? I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, Heather Stroud, Sinister Bots and Trolls. Absolutely. Sinister Bots and Trolls. Yeah, that is a persistent problem. Winter in Zimbabwe. Stay warm. Okay, let me keep it moving then. Um, all right. Let me move on from there. The team, let me see, am I done? Yeah. The team from Method was retained by Meredith Maines, who serves as the couple's first chief communication officer. So I'm guessing this is very authentic, this article. The couple's first communications officer, following her appointment in February of this year. The source says that Method will help support Harry and Meghan's growing business portfolio and philanthropic interests, and that the Sussex team is strategically building out communication efforts surrounding Harry and Meghan. In addition to hiring of Maines, earlier this year, Emily Robinson, who was recently brought on board as the Duke and Duchess's Director of Communication. Robinson has 20 years' experience in entertainment publicity, brand development, and strategic communications, and previously spent a decade at Netflix. I like her already. A couple with, I'm sorry, not a couple, a company with which Harry and Meghan have close business relationships, inking a deal with the streaming service in 2020. Prior to Netflix, Robinson held communication role at A&E Network, Discovery, TLC, VH1, and Bravo, leading campaigns across both scripted and unscripted programming. Okay. Okay. This all sounds very proper. Connie Balmer, thank you so much. There we go. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. The expanded comms team support for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex comes at a time of tremendous growth and success in various business and philanthropic endeavors. The insider shares, pointing specifically to Meghan's lifestyle brand as Ever's April launch, which sold out of brand's first 8 product offerings in 45 minutes. With Love, Meghan, the Duchess's most recent Netflix offering, released its first season in March, with a second season greenlit and coming soon. The source shares Confessions of a Female Founder. Meghan's podcast with Limonada Media wrapped up its first season earlier this week with a bonus episode featuring Tina Knowles, to be released on June the 3rd. So don't forget, you guys, June the 3rd, we're going to have Mama Tina back. Let's see, what else do we have here? It says Harry, for his part, is continuing to focus on the intersection of business and philanthropy, that is. And as Meghan has done with aplomb through 2025, appears to have developed on this front up his sleeve, appears to have developments on this front up his sleeve, as there will be more announcements on that front coming soon. Front up his sleeve. Wow, what is that, Middle English? Do they speak that in Middle Earth? Oh, well. Let me see. What else do we have here? As there will be more announcements on that front coming soon, Harry continues to support the Invictus Games, which he founded in 2014 as a multi-sport event for injured, sick, and wounded servicemen and servicewomen, both veterans and those still serving, and travelers, which Harry founded in 2019 to come up with a sustainable solution to travel, and which he traveled this week to Shanghai, China, in advance of the organization's mission of supporting sustainable tourism. Harry gave a keynote address at Trip.com Group's Envision 2025 conference in the city on May 26, where he rallied industry leaders in the Asian Pacific market, valued at $490 billion, to adopt practices aligning with critical 2030 climate goals. And let's see, lastly, it says Chief Communications Officer Meredith Maines has retained the global firm Method Communication to bolster her team overseeing the growing business portfolio and philanthropic efforts of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The spokesperson for the couple says Method is an integrated PR and marketing agency specializing in high growth tech and consumer brands. The Sussex team also recently welcomed Emily Robinson as Director of Communication. Method is serving an extension of that team. Okay. Well, there's a few other people, but okay. Okay. Anyway, so hopefully they're in good hands and they will be well taken care of. And hopefully they can deal with a lot of this, well, a lot of the nonsense. I don't know what goals they have for the Sussexes, but as you know, we are all frustrated from time to time because there is a lack of response to some things that should be ignored. And then other things where I'm just like, okay, you cannot let that just slip by. You cannot let that one go unanswered. It's a real judgment call, and I'm not qualified to make that call. I do not work for the Sussexes, so it's not my place to say whether or not they should respond to this or that. And of course, it really is uh, foolish to try to respond to everything because um, you run the risk of overexposure. You run the risk of being labeled, um, you know, certain things that they have been labeled in the past. And yeah, so it's just better to avoid responding if you don't absolutely necessarily have to respond. But some things it's just, I think, so damaging that it warrants some kind of response. It should be dealt with. But again, it's not my judgment call. And I'm not saying that because some of those things that are said or done are so hurtful. I'm saying it because in politics, they always say you never let your opponent define who you are. And a lot of times in politics, when you are not responding to your opponent, then that opponent has taken the liberty of explaining who you are, even if it is a lie, which in most cases it is a lie or false information. And if you let those things go unanswered, as you know, after a while, people are going to believe it. It is so difficult to disprove a negative. So if you let everything just slip by, it can definitely have a huge impact. Like, for instance, the comment about Meghan being a dictator in heels. I was I was on that day one. And that's one of those things where it's like, do I want to mention this? Do I want to give this any more oxygen? Well, it turns out that the team in Montecito actually responded to it because it was the timing of it was meant to do the maximum amount of damage and to try to derail the momentum of 2025. So it needed a response, and I'm glad that they were able to have it properly handled. You know what I'm saying? Just that one was like over the top. Okay. So before I go on to the next thing, I'm gonna go back to yesterday for just a moment because in case you were not here yesterday, um, we want to talk about this. The glacier collapse wipes out Swiss village. And in case you have not seen anything about this, that is the village of, I think it's Blayton. And you can see how the mountainside has been scarred by this very ancient glacier that came rushing down. Um, there you can see right there. And they say this is very much symptomatic of global warming. Hey, legs. So, the landslide that buried most of a Swiss village this week is focusing renewed attention on the role of global warming in glacier collapses around the world and the increasing dangers. How glaciers collapse from the Alps and Andes to the Himalayas and Antarctica can differ, scientists say, but in almost every instance, climate change is playing a role. In Switzerland, the mountainside gave way Wednesday near the village of Blatten in the southern Lochental Valley because the rock face above the Birch Glacier had become unstable when mountain permafrost melted, causing debris to fall and cover the glacier in recent years, said Martin Trufer, a physics professor at the University of Alaska Fairbanks who studied how glaciers move. While the debris insulated the glacier and slowed melting, its weight caused the ice to begin moving, which accelerated dramatically a few weeks ago. Authorities ordered the evacuation of about 300 people, as well as all livestock from the village in recent days. When it became clear that there's a whole mountain that's about to collapse, said Trufer, who is from Switzerland. So that is what we're speaking of, is that collapse of a glacier. So again, there you go. Um, wow, the awesome power of nature. But again, global warming, that is man-made. That is man-made. Hello, Ivy here. Hey, Ivy, thank you so much for being here. By the way, you guys, if you go to the community post, I put a link to one of Ivy's videos. So in case you didn't see it earlier, there is a link to one of Ivy's videos. Check it out when you have the time. It's called Queen Charlotte, Princess Diana, Doria Ragland Impact on British royal family through centuries. Okay. Now, doesn't that spark your interest? Make sure you check it out. Okay. And I am going to go. No, thank you, Ivy, for all of the hard work you've done. Thank you very much. Oh, let me put the link up top. Thank you very much. Lydia Washington has the link. And as always, you all, remember, like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Okay. Now back over here. And all right, we covered this a couple days ago. Why Meghan's documented career exposes Kate's lack of work history. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but it is on the Feminagra website. And I keep telling you guys, make sure that you are going over to Feminagra, because a lot of things I cover here, as you know, is covered over there. And I use them as a resource almost every day, because they seem to be on top of everything that is so important. So again, make sure that that you are subscribing to them, or get on their mailing list or what have you, and you will not be disappointed. I love the fact that Feminagra is definitely being fair and balanced where the Sussexes are concerned, and that's what we've been looking for. So just to go, let's touch on it lightly here. Okay, feast your eyes on that. There is Princess Diana. I know it's unfortunate that that's that photo that what's his name took, but ignore that. Diana's commitment to children, Meghan's commitment to children. And of course, in both cases, this was before they married into the royal family. And then there's Kate Middleton. You see there? We could not find any photos of Kate working before marriage. Diana worked at a preschool. Meghan, of course, well, she had quite the CV resume before marrying into that family, which impressed Queen Elizabeth a great deal, among others, including the, guess who? Tabloid media. It's almost hard to believe, but the tabloid media was so impressed by Meghan Markle's work history. You wouldn't know it by the way they carry on today, but they were super impressed with her. So, anyway, according to Feminagra, the British media loves to draw endless comparisons between Princess Kate, or Kate Middleton, and Meghan Sussex, aka Meghan Markle. A perfect example is Kate's appearance at the HMS Glasgow naming ceremony. In just 8 seconds, she read a short phrase from a note. I have the pleasure of naming this ship HMS Glasgow. May God bless her and all who sail on her. Yet media outlets called it a speech and fawned over her presence as if she delivered a rousing address. Left-leaning publications highlighted heritage and social impact, while right-leaning coverage turned it into a show of national power. The center stayed neutral, focusing on the ship's operational details. So those 8 seconds, right? Those few words, which unfortunately, you can't say they were delivered flawlessly. It was like the expectations have been so, small for her. You don't expect much. So if she does the very least, everyone is ready to name a national holiday for her. Yeah, the expectation game. But, considering that it's rare that she speaks publicly, it's rare that she actually works. Then, of course, as they say, just a little goes a long way. Lex says, why doesn't the British media mention Kate's yacht job? Yes, why don't they ever mention the yacht anymore? They were very glad to talk about it in the past. As a matter of fact, the article from the Daily Mail is still there saying that Kate worked on a yacht one summer with some of the biggest business executives in the world, from Germany to Japan. There she was, wearing those super tight short shorts, which, of course, I was glad to speak about that the other day. But yeah, they won't mention that. And of course, using the power of projection, so many of the so called derangers, Kate's supporters, they have tried to convince us, they have tried to gaslight us into believing that Meghan was the one who worked on the yachts. When all along, we all know it was Kate Middleton. Even though her family supposedly had this multi-million dollar business, somehow Kate had to go and work on a yacht for the summer. That has never made sense to me, but it is true. There are photos that support that. Thank you very much, Lex. Oh, is Rohini here? Rohini is here? Rohini? Let's see. How did I miss her? Okay. There you are. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Now, is it true you were in the hospital? Anyway, I'm gonna have to make a get well card for you. And I hope you're doing well. And listen, thank you so much for being such a valued part of our family. And of course, anytime something happens, we're all with you. Okay. Just know that we're in your heart. So, and you ours, of course. Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, what? What? Hey, Hazel Jones. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, that was just what I just shared, isn't it? Yeah, that was it right there. Let me see. Okay, let's just do a little bit of Meghan right here. Meghan Sussex's work record of success says here Meghan Sussex's achievements before marriage put her in a league of her own. She graduated from Northwestern University with a double major in theater and international relations. Her studies didn't just stop at a degree. She worked as an intern at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This experience gave her insight into global diplomacy and exposed her to international work. She designed two collections for the Canadian retailer Reitmans, showing her keen eye for fashion and marketing. As an actress, Meghan starred in 7 seasons of the legal drama Suits, proving her staying power in a tough industry. Meghan appeared in 23 television shows and 8 films. She built a strong resume that went far beyond celebrity status. That's our Meghan. And of course, there's Meghan when she volunteered for the USO and she went away that Christmas. What was it, to Afghanistan? But yeah, that is why she actually had a seat on one of the several planes that are used as Air Force One. Just in case you didn't know it, there are a fleet of planes, including the civilian version is called the 757, which is what that is right there. Some people have nicknamed it the flying pencil because it is very long, skinny, and it has quite a bit of miles that it can travel. It is like a over-engineered hot rod. But yeah, so that is one of the several planes that are used by the president, the vice president, etc. So just to give you an idea. And plus, the plane was, I believe it was the Secretary of Defense at the time. Anyway, it was one of those big brass people or big time department heads that was on the trip. So, of course, they needed a plane that, well, let me put it to you like this. An aircraft like that, if the president happens to be on board, it has everything necessary to command the country through any given disaster or act of aggression. So it is a very, very secure plane. So, and wow, what a privilege to have a chance to fly on one of those things. Anyways, and let's talk about Kate's volunteering before she was married. It appears as though she volunteered to help the family by hanging out with Sir Richard Branson. See there? Kate Middleton, aka Yacht Girl, was partying with Richard Branson. And their words, not mine. And on the right there, you can see it says Kate Middleton shows Richard Branson she means business as billionaire gives her advice. Now, that is how they framed it at the Daily Fail, is that the billionaire had gave her some advice in the middle of the night at a party where she was wearing her mama's clothes. Isn't that the ugliest outfit you ever seen? You see that? Now, by itself, I'm sure any of those pieces may have been amazing, but oh, Kate ain't got no taste, no class, none of that stuff. Kate Middleton and at Richard Branson's summer and tennis party at the Kensington Roof Garden on June 22nd, 2006. A few months later, she would be dancing again in Ibiza. Now, all of that is alleged. I don't know that for certain. So let me just say all of that is alleged. But yeah, she definitely romped around and danced in some circles with some very shady characters. All of this information, of course, is in the public domain. Here's a collage of photos of Kate romping around with Richard Branson, where she hung out with him one night so he could give her some great advice. Like, do not ever pair that hideous skirt with that jacket again in this life. I repeat, never pair that skirt and that jacket in the same outfit ever again. Leave your mama's clothes at home. Leave your mama's clothes at home. You're too young to be dressing like your mama. So leave that stuff at home. That was the advice. He had her come all the way down there so that he can remind her exactly how dowdy and dumpy that outfit appeared. Yes, we're calling it advice. Advice. Now, I would call the Vice Squad because who knows what was happening there, but they call it advice. But again, it is the way they try to project all of these things on Meghan. There are no photos, there are no people in all these years. They could never find anything to support the notion that Meghan was out there like that. But this character here, well, there's plenty ways to document those comings and goings. So there you have it. It is a complete contrast to the rather, I would say, somewhat uneventful life for the Princess of Wales as she is now. The events, well, they happened after the sun went down or on the yacht. But other than that, she didn't really do much. She went out and partied. I mean, how many times did they take pictures of her spilling out of one of those black cabs? Right? Several occasions. There she was, looking very bleary-eyed in the back of a black cab with all of her friends, or spread eagle on the floor wearing roller skates. I mean, she was the life of the party. She was the life of the party. Yeah, William finally decided no one else wanted him. And they say that those breakups were engineered so that William could send the signal to others that he was available. Others, of course, meaning the aristocratic women. There's no way that William wanted anything less than an aristocrat. But after wearing them down for 10 years with the on again, off again, it's embarrassing, you guys. It's embarrassing. It is a national embarrassment for the Middleton family that one of their daughters was hanging on for 10 years. Now, they make it sound like William just wanted to be right. Yeah, he wanted it to be right. He wanted to marry an aristocratic woman. But that didn't happen. The Middleton sisters were the laughing stock. They were the butt of the joke in college. And William's friends, well, okay, you guys, let's talk about projection. They say that all of Harry's friends, he turned against them. He doesn't talk to them. William's friends, where are they? Now, of course, he's the future king, so they're going to run in the same circles. They're going to be invited to certain things. There are certain positions within the royal household that goes back to those families for centuries. But who are William's friends? Like the Duke of Windsor. The Duke of Windsor is going to be there regardless of the circumstances. But does he really think much of William? And how many times have you seen the Duke of Windsor and Kate Middleton in the same space at the same time? That's how close they are. It's almost like his friends reject her. She has been rejected by high society. She has been rejected by the aristocracy. None of those people in the aristocracy are her friends. None of them. I think Rose tried to be her friend, I guess. It is so pitiful. It really is pitiful. And believe me, if Kate had friends, we would know it by now because they would keep pushing them. They would push them out there to say things about her. They would take pictures of her with her friends. Remember when she was photographed with those two old men and it was supposed to be Kate going to like some kind of rave, what do they call it? A rave party or whatever. And there it was, some old dusty tavern. Oh my God. Humiliating, embarrassing. And yet they wanted us to believe that Kate was out there kicking her heels up and that she went to some event where there was a bunch of, I don't know, young people. Um, you know, they brought a big speaker and a big barrel full of beer and just threw a party in the middle of nowhere. But instead, it was some old dusty looking barn. Not really the type of place. And there she was, standing between those two guys. Her hair was all flat, and she looked rather shocked that someone was taking her photo. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. There's eighth graders that get out more than she does. Now, we've seen William ducking in and out of a club late at night, but Kate wasn't with him. And do you remember that angry, glaring look he gave to the person that snapped his picture? And then what happened? That photo was removed. It's not on the internet anymore. It was removed. William was hanging out at one of those clubs where all of the upper crust hangs out. And he was seated next to, what was it, some blonde or whatever it was? Where was Kate? Where was Kate? Nowhere to be found. Unneeded, unwanted. But I know she has to raise the future king. Well, the next king doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with her. Y'all know that photo wasn't supposed to make it out there, but yet somehow it did. How embarrassing. You guys, whatever is happening with those two, they have agreed that they are going to go for it, that they are going to make this last push until they get on that throne. And then they're going to search for the next excuse why Kate Middleton is unable to work. They haven't run out of excuses yet. They have not run out of excuses yet. So they'll just search for the next excuse why she's unavailable to work. Nothing about this makes sense. Whatever they say, nothing about this makes sense. She has no friends. It appears that she and her sister do not speak. Do you remember how her sister went on a vacation while she was supposed to be, um, I guess, waiting for the Grim Reaper? Remember that? She was so sick and they didn't want Meghan to do anything. Meghan was supposed to maintain a vigil out of respect for Kate Middleton. And yet her sister was down in St. Bart's or wherever she was. She was at the beach. Her sister went to the beach while the family was supposed to be gathered around her to support her. Her sister was like, I'm going to the beach. And so you said Meghan shouldn't do what? It's rich. It really is rich. She's barely worked. She doesn't have many friends. She literally closed down what little life she had. She gave up what little personality she had for the role. But I can tell you one thing for certain. Meghan said she was a feminist. She maintained that she was a feminist, and she never let go of her feminist values, no matter what they threw at her. And when she left, guess what? She was still a feminist. She never forgot who she was. She wore her pants. There was a lot of people think that Meghan gave up a lot. Well, she did, but there was a lot of things that she kept, and those things were not negotiable. So let me see here. I'm looking for that photo when she went to that so-called rave party. Oh my goodness. Oh, there it is right there. Oh, I found it. I found it. Oh my God, what is the date for this one? Let me see here. Okay. I don't suppose I can do both of them. No. So it's got to be one or the other. Okay, I choose. Ooh, or do I want this one? Oh my goodness. Oh, this is just messy. Look at that. This is just messy. You guys, is that the future? Is that the future queen? Is that the future queen? Is that George's mama? You better tell it, Legs. Meghan was in a sorority and doesn't have these kind of photos. Yes, Meghan was in a sorority and do not have those kind of photos. Now what? And if there's any place where you would have those kind of photos, it would be in a sorority. So let me see here. Uh-oh. No, that's not the one I want. How about this one? How about that one, you guys? Huh? What about that one? Okay, let me see here. August 16th, 2023. All right, that's helpful. Let me get rid of that one. Okay, where is the shade? Where is the shade? Oh, Lord. No, that's not what I was looking for. Oh, I found it. I found it. Okay. August 16th, 2023, the rave party. How come that didn't show up then? Let me try it again. Ha! There we go. The rave party. Aha, there we go. See there? That's Kate. This was her big night out. Does that look like some kind of bingo hall or what? Does that look like she was playing bingo? Remember how they tried to tell us that Kate went out to some big party and they made it sound like she had went to one of those what do you call it? Yeah, I guess a rave party. And is that who are those guys? I know one of them looks like Clarkson. One of those guys looks like Clarkson. Wow. Wow. I wonder if she's telling them about the early years. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was How to Marry a Millionaire or Billionaire. That's what that was. It looks like Camilla Tominey, but that is Kate Middleton. Yes, the true hair length. Uh-huh. You know it. You know it. And yet, and yet they're always trying to drag Meghan. They're always trying to expose Meghan. Well, when it comes to this one, the truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah, it looks like a swap meet. It literally looks like a swap meet. I had to find these photos. I had to. I knew I had them. Yeah, this was supposed to be Kate sneaking out the house with her girlfriends to go to a club. My goodness. Mm-mm-mm. Well, she's got a drink, but that's no surprise. I mean, this place looks worse than Harpo's juke joint. You guys, I just I felt it was my duty to share these. I felt it was my duty. Um, for the honor of our faves. The first photo shows Kate with James Mead, William's best friend. I'm sorry, best man at their wedding. The second photo shows her with his cousin, Lord Frederick Windsor. No wonder the future king has so little respect for his wife, allegedly. That is the future. And I tell you, one outfit is just as, ugh, where does she get these clothes from? That is, she must be in her 20s there, right? What gives? And the one on the left side, it looks like she's doing that dance from Lady Sings the Blues, doesn't it? Remember that little dance from Lady Sing the Blues? That's what that looks like. My. Yes, a pack of geezers. A pack of geezers. Wow. Oh, well, you guys, hang on to those receipts because you never know when you're going to need them. Anyway, HRH Shannon says, just to recap, Kate Middleton never worked for her parents. She lived off her parents. The jigsaw thing wasn't even a job. The only job she had was was for 3 months when she was 19 working on a yacht. Yep, she was the one who worked on a yacht. And then there's a couple of more comments that I shaved the names off. It says, her delusional fans always want to project her jobs on Meghan, to project Kate jobs on, well, anyway. And then the other one says, Kate, jealous and petty, but she is determined, hung in for 10 years to nab work shy Willie. What a match. Or as Betty Davis would say, what a match. She is as lazy as Willie and more spiteful. Yeah, and more spiteful. So I tell you, I feel good setting the record straight because day after day after day, they keep projecting these lies upon the Duchess of Sussex, trying to impugn her character, when the truth is she was not the one who worked on a yacht. It was Kate Middleton. Meghan has had several jobs, but the yacht was not one of them. Yogurt, calligrapher, and a few other positions, but not working a yacht, not having late night meetings with Sir Richard Branson. Which, by the way, you guys, let us not forget as well that she actually left the party with him. One of those photos you can see where they are actually smiling and walking out of the party. It appeared as though they arrived together and they left together. There is still no explanation for this besides the she was getting some advice. Tell us you want to expose something without exposing it. I want to know which tabloid paid Scammy to say that Meghan was a yacht girl and that she was on that island. Scammy was the first to say something about it, which I thought was weird. Thus, the British media knew. Now, I didn't know that that's where that started. Isn't that something? But I tell you guys, it has been alleged that there was only, I believe, one, possibly two occasions in Meghan's adult life, or actually in her life, where she spent time with that person. And somehow they convinced her that she needed to go to the graduation. And probably she thought, oh, well, this is family. And maybe she thought somehow that they could be a family to each other. And maybe that started and ended that very same day. It's hard to say. Kate had an issue with Virgin Mobile. Richard Branson was just obliging her. Okay. Is that what they call it? uh, oh yeah. Yeah, she's not one of them. She's not an aristo. And all of the elocution lessons in the land is not helping. I believe one of the royal reporters said that she speaks with a bit of a clip, that she has a very pronounced clip to her speech. Wow. You know, when you want to control, hi, cookies and cream, when you want to have control, when you want to make sure that you marry someone who will not overshadow you, um, someone who's rather tame by royal standards, you find someone who barely speaks, someone who barely speaks. And that's really sad. That's really sad. And I'm sure that there was a lot of intense training to remove whatever personality she had, to remove it. I hate to say it.
Reasons Catherine is so popular amongst certain demographics, and I'm going to say older people and men, is because she says absolutely nothing. Yeah. She's a good little girl who keeps quiet and doesn't complain, doesn't do anything, doesn't rock the boat, and is a very traditional, old-fashioned mute woman.
Take note, Nicola. There it is. Right.
One of the reasons Catherine is so popular amongst certain demographics, and I'm going to say older people and men, is because she says absolutely nothing. Yeah. She's a good little girl who keeps quiet and doesn't complain, doesn't do anything, doesn't rock the boat, and is a very traditional, old-fashioned mute woman.
Take note, Nicola. There it is. Right.
Yeah, take a note, Nicola. Take a note. An old-fashioned mute woman. Wow. And listen, you guys, the royal family, like them or hate them, whatever you feel, it is a huge platform. It is a huge platform. And it is wasted. It is wasted by Will and Kate. They waste that platform. They could be doing so much good in this world. They could do so much to improve the lives of others without even being political. But they lack imagination. They have no enthusiasm. And worst of all, they just don't care. What's even worse is that they really do not care.
Meghan in a Valentino white. Compare, I hate to do this, but compare Meghan in a Valentino white, absolutely wowing the crowds, and dear Kate in that very staid 1940s Amelia Wickstead coat.
Oh, you're really winding me up now. Yeah.
Well, I knew that would upset you, Richard, because I know you're more of a Middleton kind of girl and you like the sort of twin set and pearls 50s look. But all I'm saying is, who's speaking to the future generations, the younger generations? It's Meghan.
Yeah. And because Kate has had a meltdown, because Kate has not coped very well with her position, they needed to try to destroy Meghan's confidence, to bring her down to Kate's level, to actually to try to, push her beneath Kate, to hold her much lower than Kate, so that Kate won't look even more pathetic than what she already is. They are willing to sabotage the institution because, let's face it, that family is at an all-time low. They're at an all-time low. They fool around with these statistics and such, and they take these ridiculous polls, but they don't speak much about their popularity because there's not much to speak of. When the Queen was alive, they would go on every occasion that was televised. They would always make comment about how popular the royal family is and how, what was it? I think it was like 65% of people wanted to keep the monarchy and such. They don't talk about that stuff anymore. Instead, they remind people that this individual and that individual is more popular than the two royals that fled to America. Especially when you consider a lot of people think that they're not royal anymore. There's a lot of people who believe that they don't that they're not even they don't even have titles anymore. There are people that believe that. I thought they renounced their family. There are a few eggheads that believe that. Somebody's feeling better. Somebody is definitely feeling better. Let me see. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. I promise you guys, if Kate had friends, we would know about it. And it's not like they have to hide who Kate's friends are. Harry and Meghan, if they were doing anything with anyone over there, it doesn't matter with whomever. The Sussexes, they're very protective about the people that they engage with, because even when it comes to Archie's godparents, they don't talk about it because, as you know, there would be this media frenzy and it would make life very difficult for those people. But the people that the Cambridges, Wellses, or whatever, the people that they would possibly visit with or have play dates or whatever, they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about that. The press is not going to go after them. But the reason why you don't see photos of them is because they don't exist. They don't exist. Kate's world is very small, and so is William's. Okay. Oh, all right. I'm going to go on to another topic here. Event funded by Prince Harry focuses in part on reproductive rights. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing because we talked about that the other day. This was that event that took place in April, and somehow I missed it. I think most people missed it. It was on their website, but we kind of missed it. There it is right there. So I'm just going to show you the pics. But yeah, it was on their website, the RT Youth Power Fund. And this gathering, I believe, was funded by the Duke of Sussex. And that, of course, they did not mention that at the time, I think. But anyway, Harry looks great. The audience, of course, looks captivated as per usual. What else would they do? Yeah, that's that. Now, this guy, I think everybody is really falling in love with this guy because he just gets it right. He just gets it right. The Sussexes, Meghan has a very strong defender with this guy.
Ever wonder why royalists call Meghan Sussex fans sugars? Oh, it's not random. It's not sweet. It is racist. And here's the truth they don't want you to know. Thank you to my mutual for shedding some light, because I've been wondering for a very long time. And I was today years old when I found out. Online, Meghan's supporters, especially Black women, get called sugars. It sounds harmless, maybe even silly. But in royalist and anti-Meghan spaces, it's a code word, a dog whistle. The word has roots in slavery. Enslaved Africans were forced to work brutal hours on sugarcane plantations in the Caribbean. And sugar became a slur used to dehumanize them because they were seen as extensions of the products they were forced to make. Today, racists use it as a substitute for the N-word, especially when talking about Black Meghan fans. So don't tell me the hate isn't rooted in racism. This isn't just petty name-calling, it's deliberate. When they say sugar, they are calling you the N-word without saying it loud. They think it's clever, it's actually disgusting. Let's be clear, racism evolves. It hides behind language. And just because it's subtle, it doesn't make it less dangerous. So when people say the Meghan hate isn't about race, this proves otherwise. The language is racial, the insults are racial, the pattern is racial. The British press and the royalist trolls, they've tried to make racism palatable. Sugar is one of their tools. If you're against racism, you can't ignore how these words are used to dehumanize Black voices, especially when they dare to support someone like Meghan. So yeah, sugar isn't cute. It's a cover for something much uglier, and it needs to be called out.
Okay. There you have it. I kind of thought that that's what it meant. It's not something that you hear in the US. Nobody really uses that. Well, of course, unless you're speaking directly to some person, you're just like, hey, sugar. But in this context, it is absolutely disgusting. And that is something that a lot of racist people across the pond use that a lot. And so anyway, I think we understand now. Okay, everybody clear on that one? This guy is, let me see, the notorious JTB. That's his TikTok. So if you would like to see some more of his material, he's over on TikTok. But yeah, he wages a very vigorous defense of the Duchess of Sussex almost daily. So check him out. And this one right here, I kind of believe we may have all heard this one before, but let's see here. Oh, you know what?
A top tier PR
Oh yeah, he's talking about what I was just discussing. He has another video, but he's talking about their P. Let's see if he has something new and interesting to say about the PR firm. Same guy, different video. Let's see.
Another day, another win for Meghan and Harry, and another meltdown from people who swore they were irrelevant. That's right, the Sussexes are back at it. This time, expanding their comms empire by bringing in Method Communications, a top-tier PR agency known for scaling high-growth brands. And guess who's running point? Their new Chief Communications Officer, Meredith Maines, appointed in February and already shaking things up. Method isn't just a hire, it's a message. The Sussexes are done playing small. They're building a comms fortress. And now they've got Emily Robinson on board, a PR heavyweight who spent a decade at Netflix. You know, the same platform Meghan launched with Love Meghan, already greenlit for a second season. And let's talk business. Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever, sold out 8 products in under 45 minutes. Meanwhile, her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, just wrapped season 1, with a bonus Tina Knowles episode dropping June 3rd. Meanwhile, Harry's not sitting still. He just spoke in Shanghai at a $490 billion travel conference, pushing global leaders to hit 2030 sustainability goals through his nonprofit Travelist. Business, philanthropy, global strategy, he's doing it all. And according to insiders, there's more coming. New adventures, big announcements, more empire building. They're not just telling their story, they're owning it. So keep watching, keep talking, because the Sussexes, they're only getting started.
Okay, this guy has great energy. I like him. Yeah, I like him. He's got great energy. Now, on to Misan. As you know, Misan Harriman is no longer on the what do they call it? Formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, he's not on X anymore.
The industrial and very focused hate machine that I've seen, I've experienced myself due to my proximity to both Harry and Meghan, has been extraordinary. And what I would say is that, you know, one day, you know, her children will be adults and it'll be impossible to protect them, right? From the ledger, and it is a ledger of hate that mainly the British media has been responsible for. And what I mean by that is, last time I checked, Meghan is not dropping bombs on people. She's not annexing nations. She's not a pedophile. Yet there is way more coverage and time and words spent directing hatred towards her than people that are really, really hurting people. And I do wonder how history is going to remember those that held the pen and the microphone and kissed their kids goodnight at night and paid their mortgages off the back of focusing hatred to one woman that most of them have never met. I do wonder how history will remember those that knowingly did that for the sake of the combination of misogyny, misogynoir, greed, being part of a system that they were just like, well, I was doing what my editor told me and not caring. I do wonder how history will remember.
I mean, when you say you've experienced it, what do you mean?
Because I've had people send me DMs saying, you know, unspeakable things that they would want to do to her, her children, her husband, myself, unspeakable things. And you have to ask yourself, how did we get here? If you don't like her, that's fine. If you don't like the things she puts out,
The TV show.
yeah, write an article saying you don't like it. But 24 hours focused hatred on this one woman, this mother, this human being, this soul, it's unforgivable. The industrial and very
Okay, so that was Misan. You recall possibly hearing him say that before. Now, I don't recall if it was this program, but I do believe that this is the one that we saw some time ago. But it's just something that we need to be reminded of, is that it is on an industrial scale, as he said. The hate against the Sussexes is on an industrial scale. And this is why I said before, and I'll say it again, you can never underestimate, you cannot turn your back on those people across the pond. There's no such thing as they're over here and I'm glad they're here and that's the end of it. It's not the end of it. New York is a reason to know that that's not the end of it, especially when people are desperate. But do know that if it wasn't for the Sussex squad, if it wasn't for other individuals who have called them out, who have named and shamed those people, like CBS when they had the Oprah interview, where CBS had a national audience here in the United States and showcased, they called out the British tabloid media for their racism. The New York Times, they called out the British tabloid media for their racism. And in both cases, they just about had a meltdown. They were furious that either of those institutions, whose credibility is unimpeachable, would call them out. That's not exactly what they expected. They expected to be able to act out against the Sussexes and that no one would say anything, especially a very powerful media network like CBS, right? A very powerful voice like Oprah's. And of course, the old gray lady, the New York Times. I've seen articles where they were frothing at the mouth with anger toward the New York Times for calling them out. That's not the way the narrative is supposed to go. They're supposed to say what they will whenever, and there's nothing said about it. Now, right now, the media landscape, regardless of what country we're in, is leaning heavily to the left. I'm sorry, to the right. The media is leaning heavily to the right. And people on the left are running scared. They're losing their jobs. and they're training a whole new generation, especially if you look at some of the people that have written the articles recently for the Daily Mail. They're in training, meaning that they're paying them very little, and they spend their day going through the archives trying to make something out of an old story. What the Queen meant when she said such and such. I think the latest one is the reason why Philip didn't want to talk to Harry. Philip's dead. The Queen is dead. So, of course, there will be no protest, and especially not from that institution. So, having this new direction for communication, I pray to God that it is effective, and I hope it serves its purpose. And we cannot agree. We're not a monolith. We cannot agree when it's time to say something and when we should say nothing. And I see the comments. People say constantly, well, you're giving oxygen to it. You're giving oxygen to it. It's doing quite well with or without me. Most of these things are doing very well with or without me. The numbers speak for itself. The people that will believe anything and everything, they're not coming over here for that information. They already have a home for that. I think amongst myself and my peers, our role is to give a safe space to those who want to uplift and support the Sussexes, and also to be an alternative to the hate for someone who's tuning into whatever social media. And hopefully they will find us and find truth rather than finding the haters and hearing more of the propaganda. But it's a judgment call either way. But the world that we live in, fear drives the headlines. Fear is what brings people in. That's what pulls them in. Hate pulls them in. Gossip, that's a big draw. You know, I saw bits and pieces of it. I haven't been able to watch it, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. The only thing I can say is I hope that they actually have a cohesive message, a true message, because usually by the time the palace gets through threatening people, there's not much of the truth left. As Omid Scobie said, the last time that he did a documentary with one of those channels, when he was giving his response, they literally turned the sound down. His lips was moving, but you couldn't hear what he was saying. Some very clever editing, and his point was lost. Yeah, with some very clever editing, Omid Scobie's point was completely lost. Well, thank goodness for that. And like I said, that's what we hope for, is that we're not just here fanning the flames, that we're actually informing, that we're giving an alternative to the hate. But you have to be able to call it out. King Charles gifted Rolls-Royce as coronation present. King Charles III received a Rolls-Royce as a coronation gift. An official register has revealed Buckingham Palace has released records listing the official gifts received by members of the royal family from 2020 to 2023. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan Series 2 motor car was given by the King of Bahrain, Hamad bin Isa al Khalifa, and it is thought to be worth at least £300,000 and will be used on official occasions and not for personal use. Other gifts on the list also included a feathered crown from Amazonian indigenous leaders, 2 gold Blue Peter badges. What the heck is that? And a tea set from Smithson's of Bond Street. Now, that's very cute, but you see how they took a leap from a 300,000-pound Rolls Royce to a feathered headdress and a tea set? See how they made that big leap? Why don't we keep talking about the 300,000-pound car that they neglected to mention until now? That's a hell of a gift to hold secret. Nobody's even seen the car. Oh, thank you very much for that. I had no idea. I didn't know what that was. Isn't that something? They kept that secret. Blue Peter badge. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Oh, that's cute. Wow, I see one made of diamonds. Blue Peter's 60th anniversary. How to get a sparkly new diamond badge, and is seriously blingy. It sure is. Yeah, I think I'll pass on that. Blue Peter. I'm not going to tell you how weird that sounds to me. Oh, it must be made of solid gold. Okay. All right. Well, there it is. They kept that a secret. In April 2023, just before his coronation, the king received 2 gold Blue Peter badges, one each for himself and Godzilla. They received the famous badges. I don't want to hear about no darn badges. Let's talk about the car. Okay. Official gifts can be worn and used, but are not considered the royals' personal property. The royals do not pay tax on them. Well, that's one way around it. But they have a whole team of people that catalog those items, and nobody else is going to get them. Gifts cannot be sold or exchanged. Oh, they said it was delayed because of the pandemic. BS. They delayed it because of how odd that would look for Charles to receive a brand new Rolls-Royce Cullinan while there are so many people hungry, suffering from food insecurity, unable to top up their heat card or whatever. Gosh, that water is good. Hold on. Okay. So there you go. Charles has received a new Rolls-Royce Cullinan. That's like the SUV version of the Rolls-Royce. It's huge. It may as well be a luxury coach. But I'm sure he'll know exactly what to do with it. Miss Tina Knowles. I found some information. I was wondering who painted this picture. From Lagos to the limelight, Nigerian artist painted cover of Tina Knowles' new book. Ah, there he is right there. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. God, that's small. Oh, that's real small. I can't see that. Let me see. I can't see that. Can you all see that? I can't see it. What's his name? Kalani Fatai calls himself one of the luckiest artists from Africa after he was commissioned by Tina Knowles to paint the cover of her forthcoming book, a task that he says changed the trajectory of his entire career. The Nigerian-based painter said he was first commissioned by Knowles, the mother of Beyonce and Solange, in 2023. And when she later asked him to paint the cover of her book, Fatai couldn't have been more ecstatic. I thought it was a joke, like I didn't really believe it. I didn't think I was fit for that standard, he tells the USA Today network. But she made what I thought was a joke reality, and she really guided me. Knowles, affectionately dubbed Mama Tina by many fans, announced she is releasing a memoir titled Matriarch on April the 22nd. He says, I'm one of the luckiest artists, maybe from Africa, because I'm proud that I am the one that made the cover painting. So it's a great privilege, and I'm always grateful for that, Fatai says. Just for someone in Africa, Nigeria, that is not a norm. I'm not that known to the world, and she brought me from nowhere, and people are connecting with me. And so I would dedicate the accomplishment back to her. I'm proud of her for choosing me. Oh, that is so sweet. I love that. I love that. Fatah's journey from Lagos to the limelight, born in a commercial area of Lagos called Mushin, Fatah says he started drawing at age of 6. Others began noticing his work as early as elementary school, when teachers and students would rely on him to create drawings in school. Once his dad discovered his talent, he helped foster Fatai's skills. Oh, that's very sweet. Anyway, this article is, where is this from? It is from the USA Today Network. So if you want to see the article in its entirety, go to the USA Today Network online and you'll find it. Oh, I love that painting back there. That is really cool. Okay. Now, I promised you guys yesterday that I was going to share whatever I could about this incredible story. This young woman who is an influencer decided to take her mother to Europe, and she took her first class. Now, I don't have any video to share with you, but daughter takes mom on flight to Europe. Mom gets a meaningful surprise when she boards. When Crystal surprised her mom, Emma, with a first class flight to Europe, she wasn't just giving her a luxury experience, she was honoring a lifetime of sacrifice. That is so, so sweet. I love that. Now, this new thing that they have at People Magazine, need to know. Crystal surprised her mom with a first class flight to Europe as a gesture of gratitude and love. The viral moment captured Emma's emotional reaction and highlighted the importance of breaking generational cycles. For Crystal, the experience was about showing her family they deserve joy, luxury, and new legacies. So, of course, mom is the one in blue. If you couldn't tell, she's the one with the big smile. And there they are in front of the Louvre, the very famous art museum. Musée du Louvre, is that how they say it? And there on the right is the La Tour Eiffel. They're at a vantage point across the River Seine, where a lot of people stand on that side of the river and take a picture of the Eiffel Tower, which is on the other side, of course. And check it out. There they are having lunch somewhere near the Louvre. And she's teasing her daughter right there. How much was the bill? And of course, they didn't just stop in Paris. They continued on to Rome. Now, some of these photos are not in order, but I had to go over to her Instagram to grab these photos. So I'll share a few with you. There's mom's big surprise. She said that she had never been on a plane like this before. And oh, let me tell you, mama showed out. Mama showed out. So anyone, hi, Juliet Holder Fowler. Anyone who had a chance to see these photos, it was so, so sweet. Very sweet. I loved it. See there? See that big Colgate smile? And look in the background there, you can see mom back there sipping some champagne. Of course, you know, in the first class, they offer you orange juice, water, or champagne when you first get on the plane. Or maybe they only do the orange juice in the morning. But yeah, for the first class passengers, business class, they come around with a tray of beverages. So that way, by the time the plane takes off, you're as high as a Georgia pine. And look at mom enjoying dinner. You see how she has that hand up? She ain't being too bougie, is she? She ain't being too bougie. She's just enjoying her food. I mean, that is a universal symbol of, oh, this is divine. She took a little nibble and that left hand went up like she was in church. And look at mom running through the tulips. Look at mom running through the tulips. You guys, if you haven't been to Europe, if you're going to go, make sure you go in the spring. April and May is the best time to go. April and May. Beat the hot tourist season. And don't worry, you're going to get lucky and you're going to have some very extraordinary weather. Mom is living her best life. Now, I believe that there's a company that provides the photos. So here you can see there's the aerial drone shot. And then, of course, there's the daughter on the Bloom Effects Amsterdam. So I guess if you go to Amsterdam, if you get in touch with Bloom Effects, because they do have tours of the tulip fields or tulip farms, you can probably arrange some kind of experience like this to share with your friends and family, and of course, social media. But of course, her daughter's an influencer, so I can't say that this is available to everyone, but you'd have to get in touch with Bloom Effects to find out. Now, on the right, I believe they're still in Amsterdam, and look at Mama getting all jazzy with the saxophone player. Look like she's made a friend. Oh, yeah, and mother and daughter, they were wearing some fashions, y'all. I haven't seen anybody go to Europe and rock some fashions like this since the movie Mahogany. Now, when they were in Paris, you could see that is the balcony of the hotel, and that is the Eiffel Tower. And her mother was like, "Oh, there's the Eiffel Tower," when they were in the limousine. And she's like, "You can go up there?" She said, "I've seen this before on TV, and now I'm here and I'm seeing it with my own eyes." She was just so sweet. Oh, I loved mom. Mom is just, I love her. She's just the wide-eyed experience of joy that she was having. So they were in Paris, and the next thing you know, they were in Rome. And there's mom by the Colosseum. And there's mom on the corner. Now, listen, mom's very sweet and pure of heart. She's just having fun. And then they're in the middle, they're having I think they said it was like a stuffed brioche, that it had some kind of cream or something in it. Let me see. And then they're on the right. That is Capri. They're in the Isle of Capri. Sandra, I will get the link for the article. I'm looking at it right here. Let me put the link on the screen for you, and then I'll put that at the top of the chat. So you can find this article and read it yourself. And also, I'm going to give you the link for, I'm going to show you how to find the Instagram for the daughter. But yeah, I was kind of following them on social media while they were traveling. And it was so viral that it ended up in People magazine. There you go. There it is, right there. Crystal Nicole. You see there? I am Crystal Nicole E. Nicole E. Well, anyway, you can see there's an extra E at the end, but take a screenshot of it so you won't lose the information, and that way you can find her on the social media. But yeah, she's an influencer. She models, and she's been traveling the world. And if you go to the Instagram, you can hear some of the conversation because there is some video from the trip. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't catch on. You know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Oh, nice, nice. Now, I'm going to end with this. I'm going to end with something about architecture and AI. And then I'll take a look at a few more of your comments, and then we'll be done. But this is the Rookery building. But which one is the Rookery? The one on the left or the right? Obviously, it is not the one on the left. That is an AI. If you could look at the way that that car or buggy or whatever, see that little red car? That is not real. This is all generated by AI. Now, what I think happened is AI took the image on the right and reproduced it into the image on the left. And it says right here, designed by Burnham and Root, and that's Daniel Burnham and John Wellborn Root, two very famous Chicago architects. It was Chicago's first high rise with a central courtyard. Now, I'm going to show you what they mean by courtyard. The building is a big square, and at the center of it, there is an open space. So if the building was rounded, it would be shaped like a donut. But instead, it's like a square with what they call a light well in the middle. The light well is to get air circulating through the buildings in the days before air conditioning, and to also bring light into the inner offices and shops of the building. So the real Burnham and Root Rookery building is the one on the right side. And I believe it was built in 1885, if that's right. Let me see. The Rookery building. Okay. It was completed. Let me see. 1888. 1888. The building across the street, which they call the world's first skyscraper, was built in 1885. So this one was built in 1888, and it's called the Rookery building. Now, the reason why they call it the Rookery building is because that is an old English word for bird, a rook. And the building that was there before this was actually infested with birds. There was a water tank filled with birds. And so, using the old term rook, they decided when they tore that building down, they would replace it with a new building, and they named it a rookery. And somewhere in the architecture, there are several references to birds. So that's where the name comes from. Now, 1888, of course, it's a landmark. But if you take a look here, the AI, this is what I hate about the AI. There are videos online, and I'm sure you've seen them, where they will talk about architecture, people, all kind of things, and the AI will generate an image. But if you want to learn about the Rookery building, you might as well use the actual image. But they're using an AI generated image, And about the only thing they got right was the arch at the entrance. Other than that, and that's not even correct because the arch is in the middle of the building, not on the corner. So they really screwed that up. This is why AI is a nuisance, because you cannot believe what you read and you can't believe everything you see. Now, that is the rookery. That's the inside, that is the outside. The inside has a lattice work of iron and glass. As you can see, beautiful. That is the inner courtyard that they mentioned. That, well, not courtyard, but inner court. That is the center of the building, and the lobby is flooded with light because of that beautiful glass. And the exterior is made of brick, and the base of it is made of granite. And that is on LaSalle Street in Chicago. And of course, LaSalle Street is like our Wall Street. As a matter of fact, if you, I don't have a picture of it here, but this is where they film a lot of movies in Chicago. The Rookery building was used as the toy store in Home Alone 2. There was a scene at a toy store in Home Alone 2, and the Rookery building was used as the toy store. And look at how beautiful that is. This is so beautiful that on the weekend, they rent it out for weddings. Now, if you're wondering, how could you have a wedding with those windows, the shops in the background? Well, what they do is they have curtains, like those curtains that they use at the doctor's office back in the old days. You know how they had them on wheels? Well, they have something a little more elegant than that, of course. And they roll those up to the plate glass windows on the first 2 floors. So that way, in your photos and everything, you don't see it. But on Saturdays and Sundays, you can lease this space and use it for weddings or receptions or whatever. Now, the interior of this building is going to blow you away. But I want you to notice, too, the brown doors in the background. Those are the original wooden doors that you would have seen back in 1888. The original building was illuminated by gas lamps. They didn't have electricity. They illuminated the building with gas lamps, but it was very quickly switched over to electricity. Oh, thank you for that, Marshar. That is white marble, Carrara white marble. The interior of the building originally was nothing but iron and glass. The floors were mosaic tile, but it was so dark and so gloomy. Like on the left side, you can kind of get a hint of how dark it was, because from this angle, you see a lot of the original dark cast iron. But another architect that you may have heard of, Frank Lloyd Wright, was recruited to remodel the interior of the building. So those light fixtures are Frank Lloyd Wright. And the marble cladding that covers up the iron, all of that is Frank Lloyd Wright's design. It looks very Victorian because it is. Well, actually, I'm going to say it was Edwardian because it was back in 1905 when they remodeled. So the original lobby, Victorian. After the remodel, you could say it was remodeled in an Edwardian style. See there? Like the staircase that you see suspended there, that, of course, is the original cast iron. It would be very difficult to cover that with marble, but the columns and the spandrels between the columns, as you can see, all of that was covered in white marble designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Again, The light fixtures were removed and replaced with light fixtures designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. So this style of architecture is not really Frank Lloyd Wright's thing, but because he was so popular at the time, he was very young at the time, they recruited him to remodel the interior. See there? Beautiful gold leaf and marble. Isn't that beautiful? Gold leaf and marble, and occasionally you can see the original cast iron. Now, they couldn't cover up all of the iron because it would have made it darker instead of lighter. And the whole point of the marble and gold was to brighten up the space. See there? There's a close-up. Beautiful Carrara white marble and the gorgeous gold inlay. And of course, some of the iron was painted white, as you can see. That also helped to brighten up things. I mean, the whole point of the remodel was to brighten it up. And above the skylight, you can see how the glass roof is surrounded by the building on all sides. Oh, this is my favorite photo, is this one right here. Now, I didn't take these photos myself, just so you know. I do have some photos, but I don't think they came out nearly as nice as this. This I found on Facebook, but beautiful, gorgeous reworking of the interior of the building. There it is, the Rookery. And again, those are those light fixtures. And you know what? Those light fixtures, for something created in 1905, because it's Frank Lloyd Wright, you could easily use those light fixtures today and it would not look out of place. Isn't that gorgeous? So the first two levels of the interior is this big open illuminated space with a skylight. Now, this point right here, you see that? They left this one column open. This one column was left open. And the reason why they left it open is so that you would have an example of what the original lobby was, how it appeared originally. So before the white marble makeover, the entire lobby looked very much like this. And you can see that very Victorian stencil-like design. And there is a good shot of the mosaic floor. As you can see, it's not like an old world European mosaic. This is something that is supposed to be very uniquely American, very much designed to reflect the Midwest. There are some extraordinary buildings in Chicago, and there's a lot of them that are open to the public where you can go and see the lobby. I can think of one right now that has a beautiful Tiffany mosaic tile interior. There's a lot of Tiffany glass and tile work in Chicago. And there's another shot of the exterior. The building is, you know, to say what style the building is kind of difficult. In some ways, it has some very Moorish-like elements at the top. And then, of course, you have something that looks very much like Romanesque with those arches, and especially the base of the building where you have those granite columns. So the building is a mixture of glass, stone, and steel. So the outer wall is mostly load bearing, and the inner part of the building has a steel frame. So again, steel was the latest technology, and they would take a lot of classic shapes and designs and cover up the new technology, which of course is the steel frame, which means the windows are massive compared to the old-fashioned load-bearing walls. And that's why they call it the skyscraper. It's not because it's tall. Nowadays, skyscraper means over a certain height. But back in those days, the metal frame reminded people of one of those tall ships with the big sails and everything, like the one that smashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. That's what they call a tall ship. And so while they're building these buildings, all you see is these straight lines like a cage. And so that's where the term skyscraper came from. Yeah, absolutely. Frank Lloyd Wright brought light into the space. And that's why they hired him, is because they knew, because Frank Lloyd Wright, he didn't just design the outside of the building. Frank Lloyd Wright designed the exterior. He designed, in some cases, the landscaping. He designed the furniture, even the light fixtures, Frank Lloyd Wright designed everything, and he did not expect you to change nothing. You don't change anything. If you do, do not invite him over. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the old cast iron and, of course, the marble clad. Dara Edgehill, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I greatly appreciate that. And I love this angle right here. See how that steel is, it looks so light and airy, because I'm wondering if Frank Lloyd Wright designed this staircase right here, because of the way it is suspended from the ceiling. That kind of seems like something he would have done. And again, look at those light fixtures. I don't have a really good close-up of it, but those are perfect. Remember, electricity was kind of new. I mean, 1905, public buildings at that time were still being converted from gas to electric. And check it out. I saw this on Facebook, so I'm showing it to you. I couldn't find wedding photos, but this appears to be an engagement. So he's coming down the steps with some flowers. And of course, there's the ring, right? And eventually, I do, I will, I shall, I do. So yeah, great place for a wedding. And that is the ring. And that is the end. Okay, you guys, thank you very much. I did not mean to take 2.5 hours, but yet here we are. Do not forget, there's a great video from Duchess Royal. The April Fool's video is her last. Do check it out. I've watched it a couple of times already. I told you, I always watch her videos twice. They're so informative. They're in chronological order, and they definitely remind you where we've come from and where we're going to. So great work as usual from Duchess Royal. And please go over, like, subscribe, and share it. Yeah, like, subscribe, and share. You know the drill by now. Okay? Do it. And hopefully tomorrow, the Lady Sussex will be on. Let me see if she has a message for us. Sometimes she'll let us know if she's not coming on. Well, what I mean tomorrow, later today. Let me see. Okay, so far no messages from her, so perhaps we will see her. I hope so. She was on last week, so I hope so. It's like the best thing about Sunday. Oh, thank you very much. I will put that at the top of the chat. Okay, there we go. I pinned that at the top of the chat. So this one you can watch at any time, but the link is at the top of the chat. And congratulations to Duchess Royal for 10,000 subscribers. It should easily be 20, 30, 40,000 because of the great work that Duchess Royal is doing to maintain a chronological timeline for these events that have taken place. I cannot tell you how impressed I am by that. Okay? All right. Also, pray for all of the squatties who are suffering illness, who needs your prayers and your positive energy. Of course, um, oh my goodness, she was just on here, Rohidi, who was in the hospital, and of course, our continued prayer and support for Church Nellie, Elaine Parker, and Dorothy Ross, and anybody else that I may have overlooked. Well, yeah, they definitely need your continued prayers and, of course, our heartfelt support. So do keep praying for them. They have been, all of them, oh, and of course, you too, Rohini, have been the bedrock of this community from the beginning. So we need them back on the chats and fighting the good fight. Okay, am I missing anything? Nope. I'm going to take a look at a few of your comments, and then I'm going to say good night or good morning. Oh, yeah, Professor Tim Wilson, if there's one thing that he says that I can agree with is that Charles and his dim-witted son, William, they need to show more grace in their role, in their position. It's one thing when you have an elected leader acting a fool. That's something else there, because elected leaders are usually replaced over time. But the supreme governor of the Church of England, the head of the armed forces, the law, the courts are in your name. Everything is done in your name. You ought to have more grace than running around maintaining these petty vendettas. It's a very powerful position, the role that Charles has, very powerful position. And what he's doing with it is squandering. He's literally squandering his life work ever since he was the Prince of Wales, and even until this very day, as he is Charles III, he is squandering his life's work. He is wasting his time. He's wasting everybody's time by being so vindictive and ridiculous. Thank you for that, Lex. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Connie Balmer. Oh, her mother's wearing Tiffany jewelry? I know mom bought something for her from Chanel, I think. But they went to Chanel, Bottega Veneta. I saw a Dior shopping bag. Mother and daughter is living it up over there in Europe. At least they were. I think mom's back home now. But wow, how nice to do that for a mom. And also, she was able to work while they were traveling. I know that she did like pause to film a segment that she needed to do. So, you know, I'm guessing that this was kind of like a working vacation where she was able to do, as an influencer, I'm sure she was able to make certain things happen that perhaps the average person could not have done. And of course, the first class tickets, I'm going to guess that was a combination of some credit card points, which is why it's good to, if when you get a credit card, make sure you get one that's for travel if that's important to you. If you just want cash back, they have cards for that. But if you want one for travel, make that card work for you. Make that card work for you. And then you'll be just like those other people flying. You're sitting there, you done paid hundreds of dollars, and the person next to you paid $10. All they're paying is a tax. So if that's important to you, choose your credit cards wisely and use it to pay your taxes or your rent or your mortgage or whatever. And those points will add up fast, and you can create some memories like this without maxing out your credit card. Oh, you like that yellow dress? Yeah. Yeah, Lydia likes the yellow dress too. I saw that. Yeah, mom is having the time of her life. I bet she saw the movie Mahogany. Yeah, the firm, I believe that they William, Charles, and others, they always put the firm first. They always put the firm first. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, they always put the crown first. And I get that was important during medieval times, but these are modern times and the whole world is very different. Books are on the shelves and we have electronic devices in our hands. Have you guys ever flown in one of those first class seats before? They are so comfortable. They massage, they recline, they do everything. I was lucky enough to have that experience a few times, and oh my God, it was great. It was great. Yeah, I'm very happy for mom. So you guys do make sure you check out the let me put the Instagram up again in case you missed it. You can go over there. There are some videos there, and I'm sure you can follow Crystal Nicole all over social media um, and see some of her work. And remember, her mother had no idea Her mother said, I've never been on a plane like this before. And her mother was the darling of first class. Everybody loved her mother in first class. And you could even hear one of the ladies say, oh, that's so nice for your daughter to do something like this for you. She said, well, as a matter of fact, I'll play the sound if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the sound. Wait, what is her name again? Something Crystal Nicole. Oh yeah, I'm already following her. Let me see if I can play Mom's surprise when they were walking through the plane.
We're about to fly first class, business class internationally. She thinks we're flying, normal, which is still great, but she's gonna really be surprised about this. We made it. I've never been in a plane like this before. Is this the first class? Mm-hmm. Hello. And it's right here. Oh, nice is that. You're such a lovely mom. Got a good daughter. She made us proud. She did well in school. We didn't have to pay a penny. Great. I have a house. Oh, this little high cover. I'll do wine. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know how well you can hear that with the background noise, but everything she picked up, she's like, oh, I got eye covers. Oh, I got a little pouch here. Oh, this is my pillow. Oh, yes, I'll have some wine. We get wine. Oh my God, she was adorable. She was absolutely adorable. I loved it. I just watched it over and over again. So, yeah, she said, my mother thinks we're going to fly regular, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we're going to fly first class. And her mother's like, oh, I've never been on a plane like this before. Then she went, so yeah, that was great. Good for you, Mom. Good for you. Mom is representing moms everywhere. Oh, you got the upgrade. That is so cool. The first time I got an upgrade was when I came back from my grand tour back in 2018. As I've told the story again and again, I was nearly bumped from the flight. They didn't have a seat for me. And then they said, are you traveling alone? I said, yes. We're going to move you up to Club World. That's right, British Airways, Club World, which is the business, not the first class, but it was a reclining seat. And I got my champagne, and it was great. It was great. But yeah, when you're traveling alone, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky. If the flight is really full, if they find a single person, they'll put them up front. And I got to go to the first class lounge. That was special. All right, you guys, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you so much. Love you. I will see you all later today. Remember to keep all of our squatties in your prayers. There's some people going through some major health challenges, and we have to be there to uplift them. Okay. All right. Good night. God bless.